What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to Lyon Live. It's episode 21 today. 21 is my lucky number, so maybe it's going to be a good day today. I'd like to think so. We're going to be continuing on with the start of the Season 2 Preseason. If you missed last episode, which went up on Sunday, it was an hour and a half long special. Be sure to go catch that one first. I kind of just got lost in Football Manager. Never intended for the episode to be that long, but it is what it is. You guys seemed to love it, which was absolutely fantastic. And, well, you join us back, of course, in July, continuing on with our pre-season. So, yeah, we're going to be doing that. Of course, today, as you watch this, it is Tuesday. There was not a Lyon Live episode up yesterday because we had a different series coming your way, something new, a network game with Ben, which you guys seem to largely really enjoy, which is great. I understand some of you guys love Lyon Live, and Lyon Live is for you. Well, I appreciate that you guys love this series. At the same time, I hope you understand it's nice to have a bit of variety. They say variety is the spice of life. I don't know if that applies to Football Manager as well. Anyway, Rio Griffiths here, a loan offer from Sochaux. This guy is on way too much money a week. Way too much for how good he is. I mean that in the nicest possible way. You can see he was signed from Tottenham. He played a few games last year. Maybe he has some potential, but he doesn't look that great, does he? Sochaux have offered to loan him as a rotation option in the league below us. That perhaps gives you an idea of how good he is. You know what? They can have him, because I don't think he's going to develop into the first team, so they might as well. We have got Voisin Verdier here, the player we were looking at signing last episode, looking interested in joining. Of course, he was one of two regens who we kind of unearthed, playing in the under-20s. I do like the look of this guy a lot. It's a shame he's inconsistent, but at £2.5 million, I think he's value in the market. Of course, there are a number of clauses in there that would see the value, go, well, possibly as high as about £8.5 million, but that would require him to really become an exceptional player. It's one of those low-risk transfers. Hopefully, he's going to come good for us. But yes, generally speaking, we're not doing a great deal, it feels like, in the transfer market at the moment. I was half anticipating us to have to sell on a few players. Of course, really what we've ended up doing is just signing a few more defenders, a bit of strength in depth, and a few young players for the future, whilst on the outs, loaning out a lot of the fringe players who perhaps are good enough to play a role in our division but not at our team, to kind of divisional rivals where hopefully they're going to get regular first-team football. Of course, Markovic and Ferry, the exceptions. Ferry going to Nice, and you can see, of course, for Marcel, he has gone off to South Korea for £6 million, which I don't think is too bad at all, considering we brought in Moreno on a free, who is definitely a better player. I will say as well, there is a chance that over the course of the next few episodes, you're going to see an update to the skin that we're using. There is a new version of my skin being released and being worked on. When it is updated, the link down in the description will just automatically update to be a link to the latest version. So yeah, keep an eye out for that going forward. If you see in a couple of days' time my game look a little different here and there, that is why. I'm really excited for you guys to see it. It has changed a lot in terms of the match day panels. Massive thank you to Blues Till I Die, Tom, who has been working on it, because he's done an exceptional work on the skin again with the new version. And yeah, I really can't wait for you guys to be able to see it. Anyway, we've got Gravenberch, who I'm kind of half tempted to keep at the club this year, I know we, at the end of last episode, we were kind of looking potentially at attacking midfielders. We were looking at Olmo, who could be a reasonable signing for a fairly cheap fee. If we were to bring him in for £2.5 million, we might then demote Gravenberch back down, or we might just keep him in there as a bit of competition in the attacking midfield department. You can obviously play out on the left, he's right-footed, it kind of makes sense. And all in all, he is just a very good player. I feel like we're going to train him... I'm going to continue training him as a playmaker, I think, because he's very good there. Maybe, actually, now I think about it, as a roaming playmaker in the centre defensive mid position, because he can already kind of play there. His physicals are a little bit lacking across the board, so it would just help him with that. You can see defensively, he's not a good player defensively. So now that I think about it, maybe I will never play him at defensive midfielder. You know what? Centre mid roaming playmaker. Let's just keep it simple. But yeah, really just want to give him just a bit of love and care all around. I feel like in terms of his attacking ability, it's unquestionable. Defensively, it's non-existent. So with that in mind, he is probably going to be a player for the final third. So yeah, we'll see what can become of him this year. I feel like he's a player who will be in and out of the team, probably not nailed on, but we'll see how he gets on. Of course, we have got a few players kicking up a fuss. including Awar, who wants a new contract and is trying to kick up a fuss. No one really backing him, though, at the moment. Similar situation with, of course, Dembele, trying to force a move to Bayern Munich, who, I'm going to be honest, they offered us an insultingly low amount of money for him, which I was never, ever going to sell him for. We did get a few scout reports and a few Ajax players who I was kind of curious about. Have any of them got particularly good kind of scout reports coming back that are glowing reviews? Van der Beek has a good one, but his value is probably a little bit too high. De Jong is a little more in our budget. Hervin Lozano at PSV was another option we were looking at. Again, we don't really have the money for these players right now. If we were to sell on one or two players, perhaps we would. I obviously, last episode, talked about the fact that there were players like Depay, like Fekir, like Traore, who I didn't want to sell. But at the same time, people were kind of confused as to why I was offering them out last episode. I don't know if I didn't explain it very well because people seemed confused. But basically, the reason I'm offering out those players is really just to test the value that they have in the market and see if any teams are willing to offer a lot of money for them. Sometimes, a player has one good season in FM and you get a £90 million bid. Whilst they are obviously key players who I'd like to keep hold of, they have a price, and maybe my price is above their market value, hence the fact we didn't get any offers when we did offer them out. But ultimately, I'd like to see if any team does want to match our valuation. There was one or two other comments saying, Jack, why don't you just offer them out for, nothing, and just see what other teams offer. And the reason for that is kind of simple. Basically, I don't want teams to come in, offer way below what I expect them to offer, me to reject it, and then the player to get unhappy that I've not sold him. If a team's going to make an offer, I want it to be an offer that is kind of competitive with my valuation rather than what they think is kind of value. Toussaint, for example, we just had a bid from Bayern Munich. It was £8 million. I don't want to sell Toussaint. I'm hoping he's not going to become unsettled about this move, and he isn't. He's actually a player who's very, very influential in the dressing room. I really like him as a ball-winning player. I'm actually willing to give him a very hefty wage rise and an optional contract extension of 3 years for him to stay at the club, for the next 8 years, basically. You can see he's currently on £31,000 a week. I'm offering him, I'll go as high as 50, but I want a 5-year contract signed and an optional 3-year extension. He might flat out reject this. Okay, he's asked for a little bit more in a few areas. I don't want to go more than 50,000 if I can avoid it, but the loyalty bonus, I'm happy to pay him. Come on, Toussaint, don't do this to me. There we go, £50,000, an 8-year contract for him. Given the fact that Bayern Munich have just bid £8 million on him, I feel like just to get him on a new contract that has a very long theoretical length to run, given his age, given his consistency, given how influential he is in the dressing room, it's just a smart bit of business. Yes, it is an increase to his wage that is not an insignificant amount, but at the same time, he's a player who's just too good, I feel like, for us to risk losing and to risk having, another team pluck away from us like Bayern Munich, and an 8-year deal pretty much guarantees that I can hold on to him. We've had an offer from Lille for Kamara. Kamara is just a very depth squad player, but I don't want to loan him out. Danny Olmo we're looking to sign for £2.5 million. I do feel like that is good value in the market. He is another left attacking mid, which we do already have a lot of. You can see he's better than Joseph Martinez. One of the issues we've got with our squad at the moment is I'm very, very happy with our back four and even our centre mids. But in the wide areas, we have a lot of players, but they all kind of cover each other's positions. Like, for example, the backup left winger is probably Saint Maximin or Terrier, but then Terrier is also the backup striker. So, depending on how we have to fill in, if we were to get 2 or 3 injuries here, we could be short of a man. I feel like Olmo at £2.4 million or £2.5 million is just very, very good value. He's not the youngest player in the world, but he's a player who's very, very kind of technically gifted, very good inside forward, decent finishing. It's a shame his composure isn't a little bit better, but actually the big kind of selling point for him really is his price. £2.5 million. It's a low-risk investment. He's coming in as a hot prospect. If he develops, fantastic. At worst, this year he's going to be a backup. And I can't see us losing money off trying to, let him go. If we do find ourselves in a situation where we, maybe have to sell him come the end of the season, it's, low risk, ultimately. A player who I just think is worth having in the team. I feel like he's got something to offer us. And, if we promote him now to the senior squad, I actually feel like now we have a squad that has the depth that I require in terms of attacking players. I feel like this is a team that can work. For Olmo here, I think we're going to have him playing as... I think we will go with inside forward, actually, on attack. Obviously, we do have Saint Maximin, we do have Terrier. I could always train him to play on the attacking middle right side. He's already accomplished there. If we could get him natural in it, it would only be beneficial to us, even if he is right-footed. We could possibly even get him to start trying to develop his weaker foot. Apparently it's a poor idea. He's lacking a strong left foot. I kind of would like him to give it a go. Give it a go. I don't think that's actually going to work out for us, but we can give it a go and see how he gets on. But as an inside forward, he is very, very good. And the fact he can double up as a playmaker is nice. He's not the quickest player, so I'm actually going to train his quickness. It would be something nice to have. It's something that we have a hell of a lot of in the attacking midfield department, is pace. And he's lacking a little bit of it. Rowdy Thomas has decided to go to Bordeaux. That's a little bit of a shame to miss out on him, because I feel like he would have been a useful backup player. But with Martinez not looking like, well, we're going to be able to get rid of him, at the same time, it kind of looks like a move that makes sense. Mario Ferreira is also going to join Sochaux, so they are taking a few of our players on. I'm hoping they're going to do us justice. You can see, looking here at the season preview, we've gone ahead of Monaco. We are now second kind of in the media predictions for the season, which is really good news. Clearly an indication of the fact that our youth developed last year, and that at least in the eyes of the press, kind of our stock has gone up, which, well, can only be a good thing, really. And, well, I'll tell you what else is a good thing. Gravenberch already kind of impressing in training. More of that this year, please. Of course, he was on loan last year in the league. I think it was Toulouse that he was at. I want to say it was it Toulouse? No, it was Montpellier. You can see at Montpellier, he did play 18 matches for them in the second half of the season. That was actually a successful loan spell in terms of first-team football. I will say he didn't develop a great deal in that time, which was perhaps a little bit of a shame. Auxerre want to loan Cognat here, who's a player in our reserves, who, to be honest, I'd kind of be better off probably just selling. He's not a player who I've really got an eye on at all. I don't think he offers us anything that we don't already have. I mean, it might be worth actually just having a quick look at our reserves, just to see if there's any players with high values here who we really don't want to or need to keep. Sometimes you get players who are a little overvalued, or that you're kind of shocked at their value and think, well, actually, maybe we should just cash in on them. Obviously, a few of the new youngsters are coming. Kanate and Cornet, players out on loan. Monty. For example, Owusu here. To be fair, Owusu doesn't look that bad, but he's not got the craziest of potential. He's valued at 2.9 million. Let's offer him out for 3 million and see if we get any nibbles when it comes to offers. Obviously, the reserve team is pretty bloated here, but a lot of it is kind of hot young prospects for the future, so I'm not overly concerned about it. We have got a few players whose contracts expired who are just still at the club collecting a paycheck, so let's make sure we release them. In terms of players with contracts expiring this year, is there anyone who I desperately need to keep hold of? I don't think there is. Again, it's just a few kind of fringier young players. In terms of players on a bit too much money, I think Owusu falls into that bracket. Soleil here is good at centre-back, but he's on £9,000 a week, which is not a cheap amount. There's a few players actually here at Lyon who are on a little bit more than I'd like, especially when you compare them to, say, Glenn Kamara, who is on £6,000 a week as the first-team kind of backup defensive midfielder. I still feel like he has maybe been sold a little short in terms of his sort of salary for this year, but I'm not going to complain. We are the beneficiaries. Anyway, always a bit anxious when I see a yellow kind of circle with a free written in it. Who is going to have had offers on them? It's a nerve-wracking moment potentially for us here, depending on who the players are who have been put under offer. And, well, I'm underwhelmed because I guess it was offers that were already there that I missed. Oh, Lala, did I miss this? A loan offer from Watford. No, sorry, Watford. He is a squad player for us. Gravenberch, we forgot to reply to his loan. He's not available. Cognat here. We're looking to maybe sell. We'll see if we get any offers for him. Owusu, no one is interested in paying for him. I mean, in real life, this guy might be sick and like a player seen as having loads of potential, but in FM terms, he doesn't wow me. He doesn't. There's no spark, you know. There's nothing there that makes me think we need to keep hold of him. Aouar is still trying to force a move. I don't really want to sell him. He's currently got 4 years left on his current contract. He's on 24 grand a week and he wants to go up to 60 grand a week with £77,000 as a rise. You've got so much time left on your current contract. It's just not a deal that makes sense. Like, he can kick up a fuss, he can stomp his feet, but unless we get a monumental offer for him, I'm just not going to sell him. Dembele's trying to force a move as well. You can see Nabil Fekir might be unhappy. Oh, well, okay, no, sorry. Nabil Fekir is unhappy with Dembele. I mean, the good news is that we've got these few little rebellions going on, but at least in the case of Dembele, 16 players disagree with him. 16. So it's kind of like, as much as he might want to leave, he's not going to. And, well, we need a significantly bigger offer than what Bayern offered for him to even be a possibility to go. Toussaint, by comparison, like, you know, he's committed to a new contract now. He gets an offer from Bayern. He sits down and goes, look, boss, I'd like a little bit more money. We give him that bit more money. An 8-year contract, mind you, committing really longer term to us here at Lyon. I mean, what's not to like about that? Shadas this year, I think, is going to be an interesting player. He's not too dissimilar to Olmo. If we were to compare the two, they're both a similar age. I think Olmo is probably a little better suited as a kind of inside forward. If we just look at Shadas and Olmo compared, yeah, there really isn't a great deal between them. It's kind of interesting how similar they are. Olmo just a little bit quicker, a little bit more physical, but yeah, they're very similar players. Olmo just more naturally a inside forward, whereas Shadas more of a natural player down the middle where we have a few more players. Ultimately, however, one of the reasons for getting in Olmo is he gives us a little bit of strength and depth. He's supposed not going to want to leave immediately, and I feel like he could be a good player for us longer term. Olmo, he's performing well in his new position. Hopefully over time he will become natural out on that right hand side. Depay is unhappy with training. He wants less quickness training. He's literally not on quickness training. What are you talking about? We'll deal with it. Same with DJ. I mean, again, not getting any fitness training. Dembele's handed in a transfer request because if the players were like massively backing him in this situation, I might look to let him go. But I have absolutely no reason to sell him. Like, he's got years left on his current contract. I think it's like 3 years left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. If we just look here, 4 years left on his current deal. Like, there's absolutely no reason to sell him, especially for the kind of money we've been offered. We've had a few offers for Owusu on loan. I kind of just want to sell him. His wages are the problem, and neither team has come in with an offer that covers his salary. Let's just continue lowering it and see if a team eventually nibbles. I am hoping at some point I might be able to ask the board for a little bit more in the way of money, because we are, well, a little short right now. We've got players with contracts expiring, but you can see here our kind of assistant just recommends not offering them any kind of contracts right now. Kind of inclined to agree. There's no players there who are super standout. In terms of kind of bonuses, I'm just going to go with the defaults. I want to encourage the players to play well in every competition. We cannot ask, at least at the moment, for a new transfer budget, so we continue on. Half anticipating like a monstrous bid to come in for one of our players, but with a couple of million left in the bank, it's not like we have money to go out there and make some, you know, crazy transfers. In fact, you can see here 2.9 million and then a wage budget remaining of, well, we can readjust it a little bit, but 60,000 at the moment. We could probably go up to £3.7 million, but I really don't know what we'd sign for £3.7 million. There's a few players like, for example, Martinez, where I'm now sat thinking maybe I just have to give you another chance. Maybe we just have to keep playing you and see what you can do. As poor as he was last year, you know, you never know. Sometimes these kind of players, they have one bad year. They just kind of adapt and overcome. I'm going to change his squad status to backup. I'm still not that happy about his wages. We'll keep his asking price in the £6 million range and see if anyone comes in for him. But ultimately, I just don't see the situation really changing there a great deal. No one, it seems to be interested enough to want to buy him. And if I loan him out, I'm not going to be able to sign a replacement. So it just makes no sense. You know, we might as well keep hold of him at that point and hope that he can come good for us. Apparently, Tuati has significant potential and we should be offering him a senior deal. Let's do that. Would like to keep the wages a little lower than some of those players like Griffiths, who we've seen who are on, you know, £8,000-9,000. It's just way too much for kind of a hot prospect backup. Granted, we've got players who are hot prospects like Olmo who are on more money, but they are also good enough to be, a player who I can consider a squad player going forward. Marin playing for the Croatian under-19s. I didn't play particularly well there, but hey, international football, it's never really going to be a bad thing, is it? And Dika Matam has had an offer for him. Do I want to loan him out for that? Chateauroux, I mean, let's have a look at this team. Are they good? Are they good? Predicted to finish 16th in the league below us. Maybe we should just loan him out to them. I mean, he's pretty good, isn't he? 15-year-old fullback. Let's get a scout report. I don't think Ndika Matam is ever going to be good enough for us. Maybe that's overly harsh, but he's 19. He isn't bad. He's not bad. I'd actually rather keep him at the team now I look at it. He does have some potential. I feel like he's got more to lose by going to a team in the league below us than he has to gain. Especially with, the quality of reserve football that we can give him. Looking at it here, PSG delving into the transfer market. They have spent a lot of money. Have they made any sales, or is that all just spending power? It's all just spending power. They spent £158 million. They've recouped £5.5 million. I mean, I wish I had that kind of money to spend. That would be good. I noticed there, Rashford is transfer listed. Not transfer listed, loan listed. I mean, I need a striker. How much of the wages do you want us to cover? 30% and 54,000 if he's not playing. Would Rashford on loan be a good deal? I kind of feel like it would be. It's a shame his unused wages are so high. I wonder if we can get it for a 40-40. No, they really want that 60 covered. I mean, he's going to be playing, and 54 if he is just a backup isn't the worst idea in the world that I've ever had. It's probably going to be more of a rotation option for us. Well, I wasn't really intending to loan anyone in, but given the money situation and given the fact he is within our kind of means, it kind of makes sense. You'll also see here, I've got auto-saving on. I normally have this turned on. I've had it turned... I normally have it turned on. With this series, I've had it turned off during episodes. But if you play FM and you're worried about your save game process, I can't stress how important kind of auto-saving is. If you want to set it up, you just go to your preferences. You can see here I've got it set to fortnightly and a new save every time. You can have like a looping number of saves, so like it'll just use the same 5 files, and then when you have 5 files, it will use the oldest one and overwrite it. I like a new file for every single one, but obviously if you have limited hard drive space, it can be a problem. But the amount of people who, I know who have got corrupt saves over the years, stuff's gone wrong with their game, in terms of it just doesn't load the save that they spent hundreds of hours playing. Like, there's just 2 tick boxes there and a drop down that you have to tick, and your saves have a little bit more safety. Obviously, if the whole hard drive goes bang, yeah, good luck. But in any other situation, it's going to save you. So yeah, just set it up. It takes 2 seconds. For Kier, £61 million. It's a good offer. It's not a great offer. My client might become unsettled if we don't let him go. I want to constantly improve as a player to play in a strong squad with better players. Will help me do that. I really don't want to sell him. I can see you got your heart set on this move, so I promise to accept any bid that matches our valuation of you. This could backfire spectacularly. I want 90 million. Okay, he's fine with that. If we got 90 million for Fekir, it would be a different situation. I'd be willing to let him go at that point. But 61 million is short of that. The fact that Fekir values himself at 90 million and he's agreed that makes me feel quite good about him. I would probably accept 80 million if it was all up front. But I think that is good business for us. Fekir, of course, is captain. He was our key player last year, so I really don't want to lose him. I am tempted to demote Lopez from vice-captain to make Toussaint vice-captain. At 22, he is a future player now with 8 years left on his current deal. It makes a lot of sense to promote him. I'm hoping that Lopez isn't going to be too upset about that. Rashford set to join us on loan. I mean, I like that as a loan, because I think one issue that we're going to have this year And actually with this now, Gravenberch can go out on loan to Auxerre because we're not going to need him for cover like I thought we might. But actually I think the Rashford deal helps us a lot because behind Dembele last year we didn't have like a striker, a natural striker. He was banging in goals with us for fun. You know, we had Martinez we kind of brought in to do that and he didn't perform. We've just got Marcus Rashford on loan for the year for £27,000. I didn't actually check how he did last year. I mean, literally last year he didn't play a game for United. Was he out injured or something? He had a 4-week injury, but it wasn't a super long-term one. I like Rashford as a signing. I feel like in FM terms he just doesn't play enough for them, at least on the original database. I don't know if in the winter update he's received a big upgrade. But in terms of what he offers our team, I think he's great. Obviously he can play left forward and right forward. It helps our team a lot, I think, just in terms of general balance. And he's a real player of quality. In some ways, I regret not trying to make the loan deal a 2-year one. But hey, maybe we can sign him permanently at the end of it all. But yeah, he definitely offers us a lot. I'm going to tell Sarri that there's no way our boy's leaving. Bordeaux offer for Kamara. We're rejecting all loan offers on him. Frank Rivolier, that's probably not how you say his name. This guy looks okay. With that in mind, Chateauroux, who again want to loan our players, you can't have him, I'm sorry. He is needed in the first team today. No, not the first team, but the reserve team. Toussaint, small little injury, can go to the physio for a week. We can deal with that, I think. Jeez, the start of the season is coming very soon. Way sooner than I expected. In terms of this might end up being a shorter episode because I didn't want to do the first game of the season today. We need to register Rashford, which we can do. People might be in chat, why don't you want to do the first game of the season today? I want to sort out our third choice tactic. I've had all summer to do that and I've not thought about doing it. Let's do it now. Screw it, we'll do it live. So one thing that I talked about last episode was the fact that we don't really have a roll of the dice formation. A formation that I can turn to. We should save this tactic, by the way. We'll call it 4-2-3-1 Lyon. But I talked a little bit about it last episode. The fact that I don't have a kind of more attacking tactic, a tactic for when we need to roll the dice and go more attacking. So I want to devise that here, and it's going to be a more direct system and a system where we, just in general push men higher up the pitch, I think. We need it. Last year there was a few games where I perhaps changed a little bit too late because I didn't have a preset to a more attacking system. A system where we don't necessarily play out from the backs, we play a little more direct with our play. Try and stretch teams a bit wider. This is kind of our, I guess, chasing the game kind of tactic. And I don't want it to become overly kind of over the top, I guess, in terms of how attacking it is. I want it to be similar to what we have, but it's kind of just a plan B. So, for example, I think what we're going to do here, because you've just seen me mashing some keys away and kind of setting up some stuff, we are going to... If I just click off this, we're going to play with an advanced playmaker instead of attacking midfielder on attack. And this is going to be one where we tell our inside forwards to go more attacking. I think it makes the most sense. And what we might also do is change the ball winning midfielder to... I was about to say onto support, but that might just mean leave us a little exposed. I don't know. It's a more attacking system at the end of it. It's a roll of the dice. I might change this as the season goes on to have two starting defence, just for a little more balance in the team. But I think for now, actually, we'll keep it on ball-winning midfielder. But generally speaking, that with this tactic, the mentality is going to be, look, we need to get the ball higher up the pitch quicker. We want to be, more direct with the play. We're going to look for the overlap on both sides. And we're going to try and punish teams. We've not got, super tall strikers. I think whipped balls or low balls are probably the way to go. Although the back post crosses in general are pretty good with our inside forwards. We'll try whipped crosses and see how it goes. But yeah, the general gist with this tactic is we're chasing the game. We need to, basically, just get the ball and be successful. We are going to be playing a higher line here. And we don't have the quickest defence. So with that in mind, I think we'll play an offside trap and try and, I guess... counteract our lack of pace at the back with just some smarts at the back. Hope that our defenders can stay well organised. But obviously it's not drastically different to our current system. It's just kind of a more attacking alternative, I guess. It's a system for where we are down, or maybe we're drawing a game we need to be winning, and we might have the game in our control, but we just need to push on that little bit more. That's kind of what this system's about, you know? And that's what we're going to try and do it. We'll see how we get on. It'll probably backfire spectacularly, but I want to believe it can work for us. I mean, when you look at our team on the whole this year, I mean, how much money have we spent this window? We've spent a grand total of 16 million kind of net spend when you consider the outgoings, which is largely Marcel and then just Ferry. The reality is, with PSG signing £150 million worth of players, it's going to be a struggle this year. But we played well last year, and I'm hoping that with the same squad, a year older, a year more mature, maybe we can just still give them a run for their money. And Ndombele might be wanting a new contract. I mean, he's got 4 years left on his current deal. He wants a new contract. I'm going to say he's got plenty of time remaining on his current deal. I mean, surely he's not going to go full-blown Aouar. I think he is. I probably should have just asked Fakir to intervene. Is that what we're going to refer to it now as? Doing an Aouar? Where a player kicks up a fuss about his wages. Martial here, you're not as good as the more famous Martial, so you can just go out on loan. I'm sorry. Just going into this game in 2 days' time, we did play a pre-season friendly pretty close to the start of the season. Of course, I've just got my assistant taking the kind of start season games. 2 starts. Probably not going to be available for selection, which will be a bit of a pain. It's probably going to open up an opportunity for Lucas Romero, now Argentine international Lucas Romero, to be that defensive midfielder for us. But to be honest, he's a very, very good defensive midfielder. I feel like he was low-key just one of our best bits of business last year. I suppose that him and Saint Maximin, who we signed for a fair wad of money last year, but came in for relatively kind of cheap. Already their values have tripled compared to what we paid for them, or at least in the case of Romero, it's tripled. For Saint Maximin, it's doubled. But ultimately, we've put high stake in young players. When you actually look at the kind of starting 11 for Season 2, the only change is actually at the back, and it's 3 new players. Obviously, we've got Wallace at centre-back. He's now going to be joined by Lenglet, who had an awful season last year at Barca, but I genuinely believe is going to just be top draw for us this year. I feel like he can be as good as Wallace was last year as a new addition to the team. Obviously, the fact he's left-footed and Wallace is right-footed makes for quite a nice centre-back partnership. And of course, we've also got Moreno, who's joined us, who in FM terms, he's very, very solid. Joined us on a free from Liverpool, of course. I'm very hopeful that he can come good for us. And then, well, you look on the bench, that's really where we have added players. Saint Maximin's come in, Lucas Romero, Rashford. I mean, 6 new players in the kind of starting 18. Obviously, when you look deeper, that's where we have really started to add strength in depth. There's lots of young, exciting players here who I'm very keen to see develop over the course of this year. I do wonder, actually, with Rashford coming in, maybe we should offer out DJ on loan and just see if a team in our division will take him and play him regularly. If they will, fantastic. If they won't, it's not going to be the end of the world for his development. We'll just stick him in the reserves for a year. A few teams in the league below us wanting him. Angers want him as a rotation option. Does anyone want him as a first-team player in our division? It doesn't seem like it. Montpellier and Angers both willing to offer him a loan deal. Troyes want to have him on loan as a key first-team player. They have pretty good facilities. They're predicted to finish 6th. How about Arve? That's not how you say their name, but I've tried. See, they've not quite got as good facility. Oh, actually, they've got the same facilities in terms of star ratings. Angers, I think, is going to be similar star ratings. Actually, it's worse. You know what? We'll give him a bit of a trial. We will. We'll loan DJ down a division, and we'll see how he gets on. We can always recall him. In fact, he can be recalled. So yeah, we can recall him. Halfway through the year if he's just not playing enough. But as a key player for kind of 2 teams looking for promotion next year, I'm hoping that that's going to just serve his development really, really well. Anyway, Ndombele got a few players backing him up about lack of a new contract. Surprise, surprise, Aouar is there. Apparently no one supports me at the moment, which is a little bit worrying. I I mean, I don't really want to give him a new contract right now. I don't want to cave into it. I want everyone to take a step back. He doesn't deserve a new deal. It's not really about his demands, though. It's about the fact that he's got 4 years left. I'm going to say that I don't think he deserves a new deal. Okay, everyone agrees. I thought way too hard about that, but at least I clicked an option that people were happy with. Sometimes with those kind of talks, you get kind of set up and it just feels like there's no correct answer. Fortunately for us, we've ticked what I guess you could argue would be considered the correct answer. I mean, I'm going to be honest, this episode compared to last episode in terms of signings has been a lot more tame, but there's just no money left to spend. I say that, we have brought in Rashford on loan. That's a pretty good loan deal if you ask me. Like, I can live with that as the solitary deal of today's episode along with Olmo. Still can't ask for any more money. Obviously, we had that bid for Fekir, which we've rejected. Really, I've just got to worry about Dembele, Aouar and Ndombele for kicking up a fuss. They will have long deals left, even if they want new contracts or want to move clubs. They've all got 4 years left on their current contracts. I'm pretty confident that give it, 4 weeks into the season, or at least a couple of months into the season, they're going to be happy at the club again, assuming we start the season well. But even if they are being a bit of a thorn in our side, I'm hoping that it's not going to affect them too much on the pitch for that game against Nîmes, which we will have tomorrow to start the season. Where are they in the league? They're predicted to finish 20th. We need to be beating them. Of course, they have got Shadas on loan from us. In terms of our team, though, I'm happy. Ultimately, this transfer window, we've added a left-back and a centre-back, who I think are very good additions for our team, for a combined outlay of £7 million for both, and of course their wages on top of that. But I feel like this window, we've not broken the bank. If we just look at Marseille, they spent a net spend of £2 million, so they've not spent a great deal either. They have picked up Munir on loan, and also Axel Aktas, there is a name I've not seen in a while. He's had a haircut since I last saw him. He's a good little player, or at least was. PSG's net spend of £150 million is a bit mad, isn't it? I'm just curious about Monaco's as well. Their net spend, actually, they've made a profit. It's kind of a Monaco thing. As much as they spend big money, they also move players on. They've kind of done that. You can see with a few of the... they have to with the players they've moved on. They sold Henrichs, the German fullback, for 22 million. I feel like they probably could have got a little more for him, but hey, not my business. I mean, we got Moreno for free, so I'm not going to talk about the pricing of fullbacks. All in all, though, I think we're in a good position. I want to know from you guys. We'll end today's episode here, start the season again tomorrow. How do you rate the transfer business done this year and the squad as a whole? I guess it's more important the squad as a whole because there's not been that many new signings. I feel like we've spent fairly smartly. Obviously, we've not had a crazy amount of money to reinvest. We've kept hold of players, which I think is quite a big thing. Depay, he only has 2 years left on his current contract. I should probably be looking to offer him a new deal. But I feel like his wage demands are going to be a little bit crazy. And until the end of next year... the next calendar year in terms of the season. So at the end of the season, I might, then be more willing to offer players above £100,000. But at least right now, I really don't want to break the bank to keep hold of our players. I'm pretty confident that with our front three, in terms of Traore, Fekir and Depay, if they can put performances like they did last season, at least in the case of Traore, we're going to be looking at some pretty huge offers for them in the coming year. But surprisingly, at least for now, none of them have had offers that have caused them to kick up a massive fuss. Fekir had offers from Arsenal and Chelsea, just not quite matching my valuation, however. But anyway, guys, I am going to leave things here. I'm very happy with how things are going right now. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying. In terms of when we're back, we've got Nîmes, Brest, Dijon, and probably Monaco next time out. We'll probably end up doing those 3 or 4 games together. Just kind of depends on what might happen in regards to the transfer market, I guess. But at least for us here and now, I think we've got a squad that is capable of finishing second. We're going to try and challenge PSG. Not going to be easy. Hopefully, I'm going to have your support over the coming episodes, and that is going to see us on through. Anyway, that's all from me. Leave a like if you have enjoyed today's video. I will see you guys, of course, again tomorrow. And, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.